Hello there, my name is Jimba Andrew and I am the creator behind AJ3 Comics, and today I will be showing you how I created my own comic book universe from scratch.
My husband was craving existence, so I decided to make him the universe from scratch.
Now of course every good story has a beginning, and mine started off weirdly enough with me lapping superheroes. I did not know who these heroes were. Sure, I've heard of Superman and Avengers, but I'd never watched any of these projects before. So I would just pretend to know it just to fit in. Until one day, I was, I think, 13, and I went into like a barber shop, and the owner had PlayStations. And this is where I discovered Injustice. Now, with Injustice being my entry point to superheroes, I was definitely obsessed. I started watching a lot of media, getting into like the animations, the films, and I came up with the idea of creating superheroes from all my friends. As your kids used to play that like make believe, and everyone would be like, if I was a superhero, I would have these abilities or these abilities, and I was like, wait, I can make this come to life. And I actually did. I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a video game with all our characters in it. And this is where the original idea of AJ3 spawned in. Of course, I was all in with making the video game, and I decided to go the coding route, and I started learning how to code using JavaScript. And I was using a free app. It was called, I think, Grasshopper Learn How to Code. But then it was later on discontinued. I couldn't find it anywhere. I couldn't find it on the Google Play Store, and I was so confused because I had so much progress learning how to code, and I couldn't continue creating my project. So I needed to get like an online class or something. And this is when I joined high school, and I met my friend Aziz, who gave me the idea to make comic books. So he was like, why don't you use all these ideas and make comic books while you learn how to code? And I was like, oh my God, why did I think of that? That is so genius. And that's when I started making comic books. Now, of course, making a comic book is completely different from sitting down and planning to make one. And despite having help from other creatives like Aziz, Aksam, and Jude, I actually had to write, draw everything when it came to making the comic books. And when I first started off, I wasn't really making comic books, rather making outliers. They were like simple one-shots introducing the characters, and I had to do one shot after one shot after one shot after one shot, and I had a series of almost like 30 books complete. And that is when I extended the universe and drew a bunch of comic books. Over a period of at least, I think, 3 to 4 years, I made something around 150 and 200 comic books. Now, anyone with eyes can obviously tell that my art from all those comic books I've been showing was kind of horrendously ugly. That's because I wasn't really giving a fuck about what I was drawing, and I was just caring about the stories I was writing. These were basically kind of like, let me keep the storyline, let me keep this character alive. And this came back to bite me actually in the butt when I decided that I wanted to publish the books. And a lot of my later work was really good looking, and the older one was just hideous. It was ugly. Because of this, I had to get a new solution, and this led to me switching genres, from going from physical medium to digital medium to clean up the art style of the older books. And hence this is where I started with the AJ3 that everyone knows today. Well, I faced significant challenges, especially being a self-taught artist. One, I was using Clip Studio, which was a very difficult tool to use. If you know, you know. I also had to kind of like pay monthly subscriptions. It didn't help since I was like an unemployed teenager who was kind of a dropout. So I had to wait long periods of times. I had to go for months without anything, just saving up money to use Clip Studio for a month. And whenever I would get the time, I would have to draw almost 3 comics in just 1 month to, cover up the lost time. I also struggled a bit when I reached publishing. Being in Uganda, I could not get anything like GoFundMe or Kickstarter, since I was in an African country that's not supported, so I could not get resources. And I also had to draw all the comic books on my phone with my finger because I didn't have a stylus pen. So yeah, that was definitely a challenge that I had to overcome. But it was definitely worth all of the time. and the hard work, because my comics improved very much visually. They went from looking like this to this. And yeah, so if you enjoyed the video or you are more inquisitive and you want to know something, you can leave a comment or subscribe to the channel if you like. And to anyone who wants to know more about AJ3 or try some of our comic books, you can read titles such as Zodiac, Tales of the Immortal Masters, and Go Ahead for free on Global Comics and Amazon Kindle for those with the Kindle plan. Yeah, thank you so much. That is all for today.